If you want to be happy, there are 3 life lessons that you have to learn. Welcome to my channel. My name is Mark Neese. I'm a psychotherapist who loves hiking, backpacking, getting outdoors. I'm at a park right now. Beautiful little stream down at the bottom of this hill. This channel focuses on the body-mind connection. And on today's episode, I'm talking about the 3 life lessons that everyone needs to learn. My experience has been that people who don't learn these lessons just have a very difficult and challenging life and become very frustrated with life. I have worked a lot with kids with autism, other neurodivergent kids, and I've talked to their parents. And when as I'm working with them, I say all children have to learn 2 things. And I've added one, but at that time there were 2. And I said, what do you think that those 2 things are? And they would come up with some good answers. You know, there's no right or wrong answer here. But as I shared my views and my thoughts, they all typically would agree, yeah, they got to learn those 2 things. So I want to share those 3 things, and I hope that they help you in your life and to live a happy and meaningful life. So stay with me, and we'll talk about the 3 life lessons that everyone needs to learn. Okay, what's the first lesson? First lesson, and again, I'm thinking about children, but I'm also thinking about adults. But the first lesson is you don't get what you want all the time. Seems kind of simple, doesn't it? But I think a lot of people struggle with that. You know, people get, especially when they get into crisis, they get kind of egocentric. But this is understanding, especially with children, that no means no. I think children have got to learn they don't get what they want all the time. Pretty important lesson. It's not about me all the time. It's not about what I want all the time. Sometimes it's what other people want. So I think learning that you don't get what you want all the time really means, in some sense, no means no. I remember when my sons were younger, they're both in their late 30s, early 40s now, and they would keep asking me for something, and I'd say no, and eventually I'd say, you know, you can ask me 100 times, and the answer is still going to be no. And I think sometimes you can push too hard for things you want. The easy does it approach to life means sometimes you don't get the things you want. Sometimes you can push too hard for the things you want. The last lesson that I'm going to tell you about is kind of a broader picture of all this, but I think that as children are younger in particular, they've got to learn that no means no. And yeah. It's awful pretty out here. Let me kind of flip this around and let you see what I'm looking at. This is the trail going up into this. This is actually a trail out to a cemetery. Out in the middle of the woods. I mean, the middle of the forest. Such a cool, cool place. What's the second life lesson that everyone needs to learn? In some ways, I think it's harder than the first lesson, and I think it's more important. It's one that I think carries through more into your adult life. The first one is you don't get what you want all the time. Okay, that's a tough lesson to learn. But the second lesson is you've got to do the things that you don't want to do. I see people all the time, and I'm really talking about family members. I'm talking about partners. I'm talking about husbands and wives, employers, supervisors that are so frustrated because people haven't learned to do the things that they don't want to do. Okay, I get it. You don't want to get up at 6 o'clock and get to work by 8. I get it. You don't want to pay your bills. I guess I get that. This thing usually plays out by not going to see the doctor in 10 years because you don't want to, or not getting blood work done. This plays out by letting holes that accidentally got put in the wall stay there for years because you don't want to do it. This plays itself out in not talking to people that you don't want to talk to and telling them the things that they need to hear. I have to tell people things all the time that they don't want to hear. And many of us do. Talking to my clients, talking to teams that serve my clients, talking to my employees. Extremely important that we do those things. I don't enjoy doing it. I don't want to do it, but I do it because it's important and it's necessary. If you haven't learned this lesson, things don't get done. Important things don't get done. And the people around you are frustrated. So this is an extremely important lesson. How do you start changing? You start changing by practicing it. There's a saying that I've learned, what you practice grows stronger. And I think part of my job as a therapist is to help people, in some sense, unpractice or de-practice things that have grown strong, like procrastination or like neglecting the important things in your life. And so how do you correct it? Well, you start doing the things that you don't want to do. Do as many as you can. Do 1, do 2. But start doing that. And what ends up happening is you start getting better. If you practice it, it grows stronger. What fires together, wires together. You are connecting more and more, making more and more neuronal connections, and you are actually going to change and grow. And before you know it, you're doing the things that you don't want to do. You don't enjoy doing them, but you start doing them because something in the back of your head says, if I don't get it done, it's not going to get done. There's no magic in the world that's going to get it done. I think that's sort of magical thinking is what children have. And so when they are prompted to do stuff that they don't want to do, and they actually then do it, they're learning as a child and as a teenager to do the things that they don't want to do. And it tends to play out into their adult life, and vice versa. If they got away with not doing the things that they don't want to do as a child and teenager, they haven't learned that really, really important lesson. So this is a really important lesson to learn. And it's probably going to affect your life more than the other two. I'm going to talk about the third one in a bit. But this lesson is so important to learn. Doing the things that you don't want to do. Okay. Lesson 1, you don't get what you want all the time. Lesson 2 is you got to do some things you don't want to do. And lesson 3 is kind of a combination of those. This is a little bit like the Serenity Prayer, the first part of it. But you got to learn to adjust to the things that won't adjust to you. Adjust to the things that won't adjust to you. If you're familiar with Stoicism, Stoicism has the practice or the concept of dichotomy of control. There are some things that we have no control over. I don't know why they call it dichotomy, because it almost seems like it's a trichotomy. That's what I've called it. There's things that we have complete control over, and there's some things that we have some control over but not complete control over. And so, for instance, what do I not have control over? I don't have control over the weather. And generally speaking, I don't have any control over people. Alcoholics Anonymous talks about they don't have control over people, places, and things, and that's where typically people's frustration comes from. I think it's a good way to put it. But I can tell when people are getting super frustrated, and it's sort of that just generalized frustration, maybe even generalized anxiety, that they are trying to change things that they cannot change. Again, sort of like that serenity prayer. Learning that you have to adjust to the things that won't adjust to you. The other part of that serenity prayer is, and then courage to change the things I can. There are things that we can change in our lives. As a social worker, I strongly advocate for social change in social policy. But if you are out there trying to change things that are not going to change, you need to learn to adjust to those things. Otherwise, you are going to be a very, very frustrated person. And honestly, become at risk of becoming a cynic, losing all your hopefulness in life. And honestly, people don't want to be around you, won't want to be around you. People are going to be like, why are you so irritated? Why are you so grouchy? Why are you such a curmudgeon? And it's because you haven't learned to adjust to the things that won't adjust to you. So give that some thought. That's lesson 3, adjusting to the things that won't adjust to you. Okay, 3 life lessons that everyone needs to learn. You can argue with me and you can disagree with me. I'm fine with that. That's me adjusting to what won't adjust to me. People are entitled to their opinions, and I'm okay with that. I'm a rather copacetic person. That's, I think, what being that following that 3rd rule. But I've learned some of those lessons are hard for me too. Learning to do the things that I don't want to do, or I've got to do some things that I don't want to do. Sometimes that's a difficult one. I like to procrastinate. What do they say? The sooner I get behind, the more time I've got to get caught up. Yeah, that applies to me sometimes. And I've learned that I don't get what I want all the time. Geez, what an adult lesson to learn. We're going to pop into a little cemetery up here out in the middle of the woods. It goes out to this road goes out about a mile to the cemetery. And I just wanted to kind of share that with you as well. Life's 3 lessons. What are the lessons that you think people should learn? You can add to this. We could have 20 lessons. But these are just 3 that I think are important, especially to teach children. Okay. Here's the Horine Cemetery. The top of this little rise. Just a beautiful, beautiful place. This land used to be owned by the Horines, and they, I think, gave it to the Boy Scouts, and the Boy Scouts then, over a number of years, turned it over or sold it to the Jefferson County, and now it's part of the Jefferson Memorial Forest. And I think this is the elder Horine, Dr. George Horine. He died in 1913, and this is his son, who was also a doctor, Emmett, and he died in 64, and his wife died in 65. And there are some children buried here, but it's a small cemetery, and just a wonderful place for me to walk out to. I come out here a couple, 3 times a month and just enjoy this. I've said to people, this is where I'd like for my ashes to be scattered. Not sure if that's legal. I think it probably is, but can't think of a better place. Holy cow. Alright, well that's my little episode on 3 lessons everyone has to learn. And I'm going to try to put that out pretty quick here, because I haven't put anything out lately, and this one is one that I can maybe do quickly. Here, see me in the shadow a little bit. And 3 lessons that everybody has to learn. I hope that you take them to heart. And I don't know. I've had people disagree with me. That's okay. You don't have to agree with everything I say. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. And these are my opinions, and I've just learned from experience that people are just better adjusted to living life if they can learn those 3 lessons. So, take care, happy trails, and I'll see you in the next episode.